Wanderers, the dreaded Mythic grind has begun again in Season 10, but it actually has gotten a lot easier. We're going to talk about the best way for you to farm sparks and get your Mythics, but also the new and improved Mythic drop rate that has actually been happening across Sanctuary. Now, it may not have happened to you yet, but there are so many people across forums, comments, Discord servers, and in the live streams that have been finding Mythics in all of these places, and we're going to cover all of them. Now, we're going to start with taking the guesswork out of trying to get your Mythics. Now, of course, there will be a little bit of guesswork later on in this, but if you do not want to have the chance of hoping to find one, how can you give yourself a guaranteed way of getting some Mythics? Those are going to be your Resplendent Sparks. There are several different ways when you first start off the season of how to get these. The very first one is going to come from your seasonal journey here. This can be achieved by simply completing your journey. At the very end of it, once you've unlocked it all, you've gotten yourself a spark. The next one here comes from the reputation rewards by completing your journey. This is gotten through the veneration. You get that by killing elites and completing the storyline through the new seasonal quest. These will give you a guaranteed spark once you open this cache here. And then the third and final spark, and I know this is going to be a bummer to everybody, is going to be Lilith. Now, fortunately for everybody, they made some changes this season. You no longer have to run through any of her phases. You can skip every single one of them. Now, I've already completed Lilith on this character, so you won't see the spark drop at the very end. And the good news is you can do this on any Torment tier. So if you wanted to, you can get a very strong character. You can go back down to Torment 1. And on Torment 1, you can just do this to her right here. And then you have gotten yourself a spark. So you do not actually have to run the gauntlet. You don't have to dodge the shades. You don't have to do any of the mechanics. They've made the change so you can get yourself your spark nice and quick, nice and easy. Now that's 3 sparks. Now that is enough to make 1 mythic. Now you can either take the choice to gamble, or you can wait to get yourself some runes and then get yourself a very deterministic way to do it, but that does require the expansion pack. So what do we mean by gambling? And now we're at the blacksmith here. This will apply to anybody that has the base game or the expansion pack. This is your gamble. Once you have 2 sparks, you can actually craft this random mythic unique cache here. Now you need 2 and 50 million gold, and then you have a chance to get one of any of the mythics that are available to you on that specific class that you're on. Now, if you're looking for something for your Spiritborn and you're on a Barbarian, you might not get it because there isn't overlap for every single piece of gear. So make sure you're on the current character that you want to get the mythic on. And unfortunately, if you do not have the expansion pack, this is the only way for you to use your sparks. If you do have the expansion pack, you're actually going to come over to the jeweler here. Then you're going to go over to rune crafting here and your mythic uniques. Now this shows the runes here. If you actually go ahead and right click here, you can see the rune combinations that you're going to need and how many of them. If you're on a controller here, for me, it's going to be X, and then I hit X again, and then it's going to show the comparison. So just use the tooltips, follow along with those. It will tell you exactly where to go. Now, you can sit here and wait for all of your runes, so then you can guarantee yourself to get the one that you need. I need something like a Harlequin's Crest here with a greater affix on the cooldown reduction because I want to test it out for a build. So I can either wait and I can try and get myself one of those, or I can just take my sparks and have fun gambling. So runes, what's the best way to get runes? Well, if you have the expansion pack, doing the Undercity cross and using a tribute, this is going to hands down be the best way for you to do your runes and to collect the ones that you're looking for. So the tribute that we're going to be talking about here is going to be your Tributes of Harmony. As a chance to get runes. They significantly buffed the amount of runes that you get from here. We'll show you just how many runes that you get just from one run. And the runs are very, very quick. You don't have to spend a lot of time running. So these are all of the runes we got from a single run. Sometimes you have a chance to get 2 different legendary runes at one time. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 runes from a single run, and the runs can take 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. There's really no better way to get these other than maybe just farming bosses, because the boss will guarantee to drop at least 1 rune. So Torment 4 is going to be the best place to do this, but if you do not have access to Torment 4 yet, you can do this on any of the tiers, but rune farming is going to be best inside of the Undercity. So another really great way for you to farm your mythics are going to be doing the Undercity. Now you get these Tributes of Ascendance. Really great place to get them is the world boss, so there is actually a good reason to do them. As you can see right here, they have a chance to drop a mythic. The best way to do this is going to be in a party of 4, because if everybody has one, you can rotate around. Now, how you're going to do this, these braziers here, you're going to run straight to the braziers. If you have a class that clears things as it goes, that's great, but you don't have to actually worry about killing monsters on the way. You're going to kill the ones that have a little hourglass next to them. Those will increase the timer that you have. And then let's say that you're running behind like I am, because we're talking about this. The only thing you're going to do is you're going to run straight to the very end here. Now, you can kill monsters as you go, and you can kill these guys here that have the skulls. That's increasing my timer. The timer is pretty strict, so make sure that you're strong enough or that your party is strong enough. Every single person that you add into that party is going to increase the HP by 100%. So you want to make sure that you have a plan. The most important part about this, clear all the braziers, and this reputation right here on the side, your rewards. The most important thing is that you get that rewards 2-4, and then you don't have to do anything else after that. If we clear this floor here, and we make it to the very end, and our rewards have been completed, we now only have to just run straight to the boss. You don't even need to complete any more kills. You don't have to do anything else, because you don't get anything extra for killing monsters outside of that. So now everybody meets here, and then you go down to the next realm. And then we have just a couple more, so we'll probably have to do 2 more braziers here. We do the 2 braziers, you skip the other ones, and we're going to head right to the boss. Now we actually have a very high chance of getting mythics, because that drop, this Tributes of Ascendance, has a very, very high drop rate for your mythic uniques. And if you have a party of 4, that means that you have more chances now to get those mythics. So we're going to see right here if we end up getting this mythic. We are almost to the very end. We have now completed all of the reward tiers. So we're going to head straight to the very end. We can skip everything if we need to. You don't even have to kill monsters if you don't have a class that can do it. And now we're just going to head in here and see what we get from the boss. If the boss is giving an RNGesus is on our side, a mythic will drop. Now, either way, it's a really great place to get uniques. So if you're looking for something very specific, this is going to be the place to come. So I didn't get anything on this run here, but I got a lot of mythics. We got some guaranteed greater affix gear. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to teleport right to the very beginning of the dungeon again. You just click on leave dungeon and it takes you right back to the portal. This way you don't have to go back to the waypoint with using your regular teleport. If you need to salvage, you can do that, but this is it right here. And then you're just going to come back over here. You're going to put your tribute in, and then you're going to run again, and then you can increase your chances of getting some more mythics. So what is going to be the ultimate spark farm? Now I'll show you exactly what that is, and that'll include the character creation all the way straight through getting your board maxed out, and it's going to be a lot faster than you think it's going to be. This season, unlike last season, you can purchase scrolls. You can just grab these scrolls here. We're going to just purchase a whole bunch of them. I'm going to fill out the rest of the ones that I could use. The scrolls will go into your consumables tab. What you're going to end up doing is you're going to put these into your stash. That is going to play a really big role later on in making this incredibly fast. But this is all part of the process to get your character set up to get the ultimate spark farm going. We're going to head over to our stash. We're going to pick the end here, and then we're going to put this in, and we can grab all of these scrolls, and we're going to put them in the nice open stash tab. Then we're going to go create another character. Now, the reason you want to do this, it is incredibly important. Starting off a brand new character actually is incredibly fast to get the board unlocked. So we're just going to create a new character here. We're going to create a barbarian here because that is the best class in the game. You're going to pick whichever one you want. Doesn't really matter because we're going to end up deleting the character. But we're going to make a clip spark here because that's what we're doing. It doesn't matter what torment tier you start the game on. You can just start on normal because that'll be just the fastest way to get this done. Monsters will die a lot faster. The very first thing that you want to do before you even grab anything, get this guy speaking for you. The quest doesn't start until he starts to talk and you get near him. So you want to come over to your stash tab here, go grab all of your scrolls real quick, but don't use them yet. That's really important. You can add in a couple of the chaos perks to make sure that you do enough damage right when you first start off. And then you're going to put on just a couple skills because you don't really need to do a lot of damage. You just need to make sure that you do enough damage that you can kill the first couple monsters, and then it's going to unlock the next seasonal quest. So we've now talked to the guy here. We're going to finish up this quest line here. I'm going to take off these because that's how my perk works. Now it should auto mark the quest for you if you haven't already turned those settings on. I'll have a full settings video coming out for everybody because I like to do those at the very beginning of all the seasons. There's some very fun and handy tricks, but if you also don't like your quest auto pinning, then you don't have to do that either. You're going to come over here. The very first thing you're going to do is you're going to kill these guys. You're going to kill the Chaos Wave. And then you're going to follow your quest giver here. This is going to be the way that we unlock your next portion, which is coming down all the way to Yasena here. And then that will be how you unlock your reputation board. So now you're going to come over, talk to Sands of Chaos here. You're going to unlock this quest. Now our reputation board is unlocked. So now we come over here and you're going to go to your consumables tab. And then we're just going to start going through, open all of these up. So as you can see here, we unlocked rank 10 just by using 6 scrolls. Now the total number of scrolls that you're going to need, it does sound like a lot. It's going to be 89. But the good news is that it actually doesn't require quite as much time as it seems like it's going to require. If you need 89 scrolls times 250, you need a total of 22,250 reputation. And we went through and we did a little bit of testing. In a single hour of Nightmare Dungeons, we were able to get about 4,000 reputation. Now, there is a unique perk out there in one of the Chaos Rifts, and you always want to be doing the Chaos Rifts or the ones that are going to drop Infernal Warp. We just did one Nightmare Dungeon that dropped Warp, and we got 1,000 Warp just from that single Nightmare Dungeon. Now, these are the 2 Nightmare Dungeon sigils that you want. One of them is going to say Chaos Rifts. While you're doing the rifts inside, make sure you pay attention to which ones you're going to be getting. You're looking for the one that says, as you kill monsters, they have a chance to drop Infernal Warp. Those are going to be the ones that have a timer that as you kill more monsters, the timer will constantly refresh, and then you can get a ton of your warp, sometimes upwards of thousands of warp per. Now, that is also a chance. So if you want to make it a little bit more deterministic and you want to know that you're going to get a lot of Infernal Warp, you actually want to do the Infernal Warp Nightmare Dungeons. We just did one of them, and out of a single one, we got more than 1,000. So if you're doing 5, 10, 15 of these an hour, you now are getting 5, 10, 15,000, probably a little bit more depending on the Nightmare Dungeon that you're doing per hour. Now, if we look at that total here, if we're getting 1,000 per hour and we need a total of 22,000, you have just about an hour and a half of farming per spark. But as you're doing that, that means that you're gaining your materials, you're gaining Omnisite, you're getting gold. Now, the second method, which is a little bit more straightforward, you don't have to rely on chance, is going to be Helltides. In a single hour, and we've gotten way more than this. It really just depends on what you're going to be doing. I would highly suggest, if you're going to take this method, turn off cross-server play. What you're going to be looking for in Helltides, and we got over 7,000 here, and sometimes upwards of almost 15,000 Infernal Warp in a single run. And that also includes reputation that you're going to be gaining from killing your elites. You're going to be looking for these right here. All of your Chaos Rifts that are spawning throughout the world, you're just going to kill monsters and run straight to each of those as fast as you can. The amount of warp and the amount of reputation that you gain is very, very high. I started with 7,700 and I ended with 16,500 here. So this was actually a really, really great option for you. If you're just specifically looking to get your Infernal Warp, Helltides might just be the best option for you. Because you can get 15,000 in a single hour. That basically matches the amount that you can get from your Nightmare Dungeons, as long as the Nightmare Dungeons are going to be able to be fast enough. This might, hands down, be the fastest way to do it, is just running through Helltides. You're going to get materials, you're going to get your reputation, you're going to get your warp. It's a really great option this season with the way that they set up Helltides. The density is super high. I've had a blast running through Helltides this season. There is a whole lot of other ways that we're going to talk about, and some pretty insane drop rates that we've been seeing. Something that has been happening more often than I've ever seen happen in the game is going to be your gambling. We have actually had a ton of people, including myself, which has never happened before. I got a Mythic. I got the Harlequin's Crest that's sitting in my bags right here, out of gambling for pants. Now, the way that it works when you're gambling for Mythics, or whether you're gambling at all, you can have a Mythic drop from any single one of these. It can be a helmet. Your Harlequin's Crest can come from your pants. A Starless Sky can come from pants. It doesn't matter which one you're gambling on. So if you're going to be maximizing your chance to get Mythics, you just want to gamble on the one that's going to be the cheapest. If you do need a specific spot, which is actually what I need, I'm actually looking for pants with a Chaos Armor and a very specific one. That's why I'm gambling on my pants. That is going to be a really great way for you to target farm specific things as well. Now, always bosses are going to be a great way to go target farm mythics. You can just do them, but the drop rate is low. So make sure that you do understand that doing 10, 15 bosses is not enough to get your mythics. There has been a ton coming out of the Infernal Hordes, out of all places, including something that I got myself. My very first drop out in the open world was this grandfather right here, and it has not happened to me since the game launched over 2 years ago. This is something that has been reported across all platforms that I've seen. Mythics are dropping everywhere. So just be patient. Yours is coming. There's a lot of different ways out there to farm mythics. So let me know what your method is in the comments. If you have a really great way to do it, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure you share it with your friends. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm live every night. I'd love it if you stopped by, said hi, theory crafted with me. Catch you on the clip side.